Hello and welcome to the Powerstaxx Plus Advanced Features video. This is part one of two videos describing some of the more advanced features of the Powerstaxx Plus tolerance analysis spreadsheet. In the Powerstaxx Plus basic video, we talked about the dimensions and how you fill in this dimensions tab. In this video, we'll show you some more information that you can put on here. So we're going to move this over to the right a little bit, and we'll see some additional columns that were hidden before. And specifically right here we have enter measured values. When you're doing a tolerance analysis, especially when you're into production, you might like to see how things stack up with actual measured values instead of the nominal values. So in these columns you can enter the first article, you can enter the mean and standard deviation of a process capability study if you have that complete. So we've got most of this filled in. We'll just add these last couple right here real quickly. And you'll notice that when I have just one of the mean and standard one of the columns of mean and standard deviation filled in, we don't get the CP and CPK yet until we fill in both columns. And that kind of makes sense because you can't calculate those values without both the mean and standard deviation. So there is entered measured values. In part two, we will show how these are used on the tolerance analysis sheet itself. The next thing I'd like to show you on this Dimensions tab is how you can change the default CPK, and that's quite simply up here at this cell right here. When you purchase Powerstaxx and use it, the default is 1, which is pretty common. Maybe you have a product that you want something a little bit higher, and you can make that 1.25. Possibly you may have a product where you want everything to be just 1, but you have one feature that is a little more important, and you can individually control the specified CPK for each dimension. You can make that higher or lower, whatever your choice is. And notice that both of these turn yellow to indicate that they are different than the default. If I change that default up there to 1, you notice that the yellow shading goes away. Also, one of the impacts of changing that CPK, if you were to look at any particular tolerance analysis on the stack up page, you would not see either the worst case or the RSS tolerances change. You would see the predicted failures per million as well as the assembly standard deviation and CPK values. Those would change as a result of this changing of the default CPK. And the last thing I'd like to show you on this sheet is how we can change dimensions. Maybe you're doing your tolerance analysis in inches. All your data is in inches, and you can see right here input dimensions inches, output dimensions inches. Very easy. You may have a case where everything is in inches but you want to convert it to millimeters, and that can be done very easily like that. Maybe you have a case where all your things are inches but a few things are metric, and we can take care of that as well. And you would do that. So in this column it says inches. You enter the millimeter values, but over a couple of columns over where it says entered units, change that to millimeters, and you can see that the 25 millimeters changes to the 1 inch in the output column. And that's it for part 1. Please check out part 2 and to learn some of the advanced features that we have on the Dimensions tab.